What's up, amigos? How you guys doing? Hey, thanks for coming by. Look, I just got back from a trip from Florida. No, I didn't film it because some things are better left as sacred. In other words, going to visit family. But as you can tell, I got a little sunburn on my nose, but I got a little bit of hours left in the day. So what am I going to do today? Well, this evening, that is. What am I going to start on? Well, the Softail is still on the rack, still waiting to be put back together. So I guess I'm going to get started on that. I went ahead and put my, my gears back in here on the pinion shaft. I got my worm gear on here, which is in pretty good shape. Nothing wrong with it. And also have my pinion gear back on here. If you have a 94 or 93 and up Evo, you have right-hand threads on your pinion shaft. And I learned of 92 and back, they were left-hand threads. So if you ever go to remove this stuff and you have a 93 and up, it's a right-hand thread. So, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If it's 92 and back, then it's the other way around. But anyway, I went ahead and got my nut put back on with some red Loctite and also torqued it down to 45 torque pounds, which the book says from 35 to 45. So I went ahead and did the max. So I got it all good and buttoned up. So I guess what I'm going to do now is just go ahead and get all the gears put in here because I want to get the thing running before next weekend, because actually, I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence, because next weekend, which this video will probably come out after the next weekend, but I want to go to a camp out, up in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's about 300 miles north of me, and I've been wanting to ride this bike right here there. But then again, after riding so much on this bike right here, I'm kind of getting attached to that. I might ride that instead, but who knows. Nevertheless, I want to go ahead and get this motorcycle put back together so that, at least I'll have that option to decide. Okay, so enough with my jabber jawing. I'm going to go ahead and get busy. Okay, of course, but before I get started on putting stuff back in there, I almost forgot about that piece of crap INA bearing that's still stuck in there. So I think before anything else, how about let's get that out of there? But you're not going to get it out unless you got the right tool for the job, Beavis. Those of you who are from that era might know what I'm talking about when I say that. Anyway, you got to have the right tool for the job. So you're going to have this cylindrical looking thing right here. And you're going to have this little piece right here. And you're going to have this little shaft right here. And a nut and a washer. So how are you going to use these things? Well, first of all, I'm calling these what they are because I don't know the right term, but I know what they do. I'm going to show you what they do. You're going to take this piece right here and you're going to put it up against the bearing right there. And you're going to take a mallet and you're going to tap it on the end until it goes all the way in, until these pieces right here, these little choots, catch on the other side. Okay? And when you get done doing that, you're going to take this cylinder piece right here, as this thing is stuck inside the bearing, and you're going to run it over top of this. And then take your washer and you stick it over this, and you run your nut all the way down like so. And of course, before you put a wrench on the flats right here and a wrench on this, you want to take your little shaft right here and you're going to run it all the way through until it bottoms out on the flywheel. And what that does, it keeps these little choots spread apart, so whenever you're putting pressure on this nut, it's going to pull on the bearing, on the back side of the bearing, and pulling it out. But this shaft right here will keep these little choots from collapsing. Okay, so let's see how it works. Okay, there it is, all out just like it ought to be. I don't know if you can tell too much, but as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but these are basically roller bearings inside of a plastic cage that rolls inside this race. And not the best thing ever. In fact, I have no idea why Harley Davidson did this back in, I think they started doing this in '92. I mean, why in the world did they go to this from this? I mean, you have some needle bearings, some much tougher needle bearings stacked on top of each other inside of a race. And this is exactly what they've used all the way up until 92. And then they went with this thing that's just destined to fail. Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not destined to. But a heck of a lot more of these have failed than these. In fact, probably like these are 3/4, maybe 80% more likely to fail than something like this. So I think I'm going to go with the old stuff. You know, like, Harley, why did you do this back in the day? I don't know. Maybe to save a nickel. Maybe somebody in Harley Davidson had some stock in INA. Who knows? But definitely wasn't in the consumer's best interest. So without me yammering so much, let's go ahead and put this thing in here, okay? Okay, the tool that you're going to want to use to install the new bearing is this tool right here. Okay, I've already assembled it. It comes to you in pieces and stuff. And what's going to go on this end is, you know, the bearing. And so you're just going to stick it on there like that. And this thing is going to, you know, press into the case just like that. So let's do that. Oh, and by the way, I had this on backwards. There's some writing that's on this side. You want the writing to face out. So when you install this thing, you want to put the writing outward. I'm sorry, like this. And that way it's facing outward. I saw that on another YouTube video. I don't know why that is, but I'm going to take the word for it. It sounds logical to me. Actually, the writing was on the INA bearing facing outward. So also, this is made by V-Twin. Some people will say by the Koyo brand, who bought out Timken, or not Timken, Torrington. But anyway, I don't know. Some people are dogmatic about what brand you buy. Some people are not dogmatic. Some people are loyal. I don't know. I don't really care. In the end, they're all made by the lowest bidder anyway, so it is what it is. I'm going to put this in. It's definitely got to be better than what just came out of there, right? So let's get to it. Well, that was rather painless. It was so easy that, well, I don't know if this makes any sense, but it went in a whole lot easier than it looked. So even a monkey can do that. Maybe not a monkey. Anyway, at least I can do it. So if I can do it, I know you can do it. But I want to show you something. When you go to screw this into the holes on the side of your engine, don't tighten them all the way down. Leave a little slack, okay? The reason why, because if you go to tighten this all the way down, this doesn't line up perfectly with the ID that's on the engine case for the cam bearing. So leave yourself a little bit of slack, because when you go to screw this down, it'll have enough slack that the bearing will be able to find where it needs to go, okay? I know it sounds kind of weird, but that's how it works. So anyway, oops. The battery's about spent on the camera right now, and which is fine because it's almost 7 p.m. So I'm going to pick this up again tomorrow while the battery's charging overnight. And don't click off of this video. The video is not over with, okay? So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, now it's tomorrow. Or actually it's today. But you get the idea. As you can tell, I got a different shirt on. My Anonymous Biker USA t-shirt. By the way, he's a good friend of mine. Some of you new subscribers who don't know him, check out his link down below. I'm going to leave it there. So he's a good dude. Go check him out. Anyway, before I get started, as you remember in the last video, not last video, but on a previous video, that I said I was going to put all the original equipment back in there that came out of here. Well, because all those gears all know each other and everything's already familiar, and the bike has almost 40,000 miles on it, why not just put it all back in? And some of you may be a little bit more in disagreement with what I'm about to say here, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and put that plastic breather back in too, because for one, like I said, the gears all know each other. And the other is, well, one of you guys made a comment on one of my videos about this subject, that if a roller had fell out of the lifter and went between the cam gear and the plastic breather, it would have just destroyed the plastic breather. But if it was a metal breather, it would have been a bigger deal. So it wouldn't hurt nothing to have that plastic breather. I know it sounds like sacrilege to some of you guys, but anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So without any further ado, I'm going to get busy and let's see how the rest of this goes. Okay, as you saw, I put a little bit of oil on the cams, also on the shaft and stuff like that, on the gears. And what you want to look for too, in case you ever take one of these apart and you're not paying attention, there are some timing marks. There's 2 timing marks on the cam gear, one that lines up with the timing mark on the breather gear and on the pinion shaft. So always be mindful about that when you go to put those things together, okay? So I guess the next order of business is okay, I don't really know what the torque spec is on these screws, but I've just used my best judgment. Don't tighten them like you got gorilla strength or something like that. Just kind of use your best judgment, which is why I kind of grab my socket like this instead of grabbing it by the handle and giving it all I got. So it came off with that amount of torque, I would say. So, you know, just use your best judgment. That's what I did. I know some of you are going to say like, well, you know, you should read your manual. I didn't feel like it. Anyway, but this is just what I'm doing. I'm not saying do it like me. That's just how I did it. Next to do is push rods, exhaust, and yada yada yada, fired up, and, you know, be happily ever after. But we're not going to get there right now because it's 5 after 7 my time, PM that is, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Because the missus has got dinner ready. Okay, it's the next day after a long, miserable day. Well, not miserable, but not one of my favorite days at work today. I guess it's just because I wish I could do this YouTube thing full time. If one of you guys is a millionaire and wants to see more content, you want to pay off my house for me so I can do this full time? Nah, that's a joke. Anyway, I got on a different shirt, Party On Forever, whose channel is none other than Andy, the Sportster Daddy himself. I hope you can see that. You guys go check out Andy's channel. His link is going to be down below also. Okay, right here is the push rod that opens up my exhaust valve, and I have rotated the back wheel in 5th gear, knowing good and well that I have my exhaust lobe all the way down. So basically what I want to do after that is I want to adjust this push rod to where I don't have any up and down slack, okay? And from what I also understand, this very brand of push rods, after I don't feel any up and down slack, I'm going to want to rotate this push rod with a wrench 3 rotations and then let it sit for a bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paint marker right here, and even though it's black, I'm pretty sure it'll make a mark. I'm going to mark my spot right there. I can see that I have a black line right there. And I'm going to take this 1/4 inch wrench, I'm going to hold the rod with the flat, and then I'm going to take my 1/2 inch wrench and I'm going to turn this thing 3 whole revolutions. And now I'm going to take my jam nut, I'm going to lock it down with that. Alright, now I'm going to let that thing sit for a little bit as the oil pressure is going to, you know, relieve itself inside the push rod. Eventually I'll be able to freely spin that push rod. And when that's over with, I will turn the back wheel over some more until I know that the other cam lobe is, you know, on the other push rod is all the way down, and I'll do the same procedure as on that one as I will do the other 2. So I'm not even going to film the other 3. other than just, you know, some B-roll version of it. So without any further ado, let's go with the B-roll. Okay, I've got the air breather on, I've got the exhaust on. You did not see me put the plugs in because I didn't record that, and then I could have started it up, but I didn't do it just yet because I wanted to go inside and eat dinner. Why? Because I didn't want it to spoil my dinner if it didn't work out. So, now that I've eaten, let's hope it works out. Let's see. Okay, turn the ignition on, turn the gas on, pull out the original, if I can find it. There it is. And let's see how it goes. Well, I guess that will conclude this. So just got to get it ready for the weekend. Got a little trip coming up. And anyway, appreciate you guys for watching. And if you like what you've seen, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And like I usually say, I really don't know what I'm going to film next, but I will try to keep it interesting. So you guys, as always, you guys keep your rubber side down and be good to yourselves. Thanks a lot.